They're going to know that they're being scrutinized, and they should be. Just like she has standards, you have standards. And men with standards are more attractive. You should have standards for looks, you should have standards for personality, and you should have standards for virtue. Hey guys, Hector Castillo, Poppy from girlschase.com. In this video, I want to urge you to start dating and seducing and sleeping with women who are virtuous, because it is going to fill your life with more goodness and with kindness and compassion and light. And you are going to avoid so much bullshit and so much trouble and lies and deceit and manipulation by avoiding the women who aren't as moral. Even if they are beautiful, nice ass, great tits, beautiful lips, they suck dick like a Hoover vacuum, they're funny as shit, you love to spend time with them, it's just exhilarating to spend time with them, they're so seductive in the way that they act, and you love being around them, but they're not good. The women who are good, now, you should go after someone who you find physically attractive and beautiful and sexy, but who is also good, but that goodness, in and of itself, is just as important of a factor when it comes to sleeping with women as a nice ass or a funny personality. Finding a virtuous woman is, I will not lie, difficult. Finding a virtuous person is very difficult, because I would say that the average person is pretty just moderate. I wouldn't say that the average person is good. That doesn't line up with my experience. I don't mean this to be cynical, I'm just being realistic. And so, men or women, there is not an abundance of virtuous people out there. Finding a woman who is also beautiful and also sexy and also virtuous altogether, that's gonna be even more difficult. And also, it's gonna require you to get her and earn her and be a man worthy of her. You will also have to be cool and sexy and awesome and at the same time good. Though, sometimes good girls like bad boys. I urge you, if anything, to have the dynamic of you being the bad boy and her the good girl, a truly good girl. Now, if you know anything about good girls, even virtuous girls, they're still gonna be nasty in bed, and that's kind of what I mean by like bad boys, right? She's gonna be nasty in bed, she's gonna wanna do kinky things, dirty things. In the bedroom, everyone's gonna be a little bit of a devil if you're having truly fun, right? But outside the bedroom and in the relationship and the way she treats you and the way she treats others, the way she treats her parents, the way she talks about her friends, the way that she feels about her coworkers, that needs to reflect someone who is virtuous. If you do not follow this advice, which I did not for a long time, it only happened in recent years where virtue was a very specific thing that I followed. I mean, if I was dating a woman and she wasn't virtuous, eventually I would stop it. Sometimes it would be hard because I'd be addicted to her. But now it is something that I look for in the front. And if I do not find her virtuous, sometimes I'll still sleep with her. I will admit that I'm a little bit guilty. But I definitely will not see her that often. Definitely 100% will not take her as a girlfriend. I would like to say I'm responsible enough to not even sleep with her, but I'm not perfect, okay? But I would urge you to work towards having that mentality. Because it's gonna make you happier. But also, when you have high standards, not just for looks, and not just for personality, but for someone's virtue, it is going to, as a consequence, make you higher value. It's going to make you a more desirable man, because you now are the buyer. Women have a certain type of power because they, for the most part, are given the choice. The men are going after them, and they choose. When it comes to virtue, that's a pretty non-negotiable value. It's a non-negotiable virtue. Her virtue is a virtue of your dating requirements. So when you are on dates, when you are talking to women, if you have this passion for her because she's beautiful and attraction to her, yes, you are the man, you're gonna be having to take the assertive approach for the most part. But within that dynamic, you're going to be a bit detached because you're going to be watching and analyzing and waiting for her to show her true self, for her to show that dark side where she isn't so nice and she isn't so good and isn't so kind and compassionate and understanding. When you have that detachment, that is going to make women treat you differently because they're going to know that they're being scrutinized, and they should be. Just like she has standards, you have standards, and men with standards are more attractive. You should have standards for looks, you should have standards for personality, and you should have standards for virtue. So, it makes you happy and it makes you higher value. It's a win-win. And you avoid bullshit. You avoid a lot of lying, a lot of cheating. Well, all lying. I would say lying is a red flag right from the start. I find lies despicable. Now, you yourself, of course, like I said, have to be virtuous to be worthy of this, okay? So you avoid bullshit, you're happy, you're high value. Now, what constitutes virtue? Now, this is going to depend on who you are. You're going to have different values that you value, virtues that you find virtuous. You know in your heart what you think it means to be a good person. So when you look at her life, when you look at the way she dates, and when you look at that fundamental value of goodwill towards others and compassion for others and empathy for others, this 3-part screening of women, you are going to be able to test if she is virtuous or not. So with lifestyle, okay, it could be her job. It could be what she chooses to do every weekend. Do you value self-control? Do you value discipline? So maybe someone who is always partying or always going on adventures and isn't worrying about their future and isn't being who isn't working hard and who isn't being disciplined, who isn't being healthy, who's drinking a lot, doing drugs, smoking a lot, not eating right. Where you draw the line is up to your personal values, but you need to be looking at her lifestyle. So her job, her habits, and her values. And you're gonna see her values, not in what she says. I mean, what someone says can be accurate and it can be inaccurate. I don't know anyone who admits that they're a piece of shit and that they're bad and that they have no values. I've met many people who, I remember I was on a date with a girl who was talking about how she hates people who act stuck up and how people who act bitchy. And she had one of the most bitchy, stuck up attitudes I've seen in a long time. And she was almost proud of it and kind of made a point where she's like, that's just who I am. And I was like, no, you're just a cunt. You're just a bitch. And her behavior repelled me. Now, she was beautiful and I was attracted to her. So it was difficult. But when I started to truly realize who she was, I felt disgusted. So you need to train yourself to look at the way she's acting, not what she says she is attracted to, what she holds as a value. Look at her lifestyle and look at her habits. And in that, you will find the truth. And that's what you're going to find out during conversation on the date with her. And ask these questions in a way that is you testing and looking. And that is going to screen her out, but also it's going to make you high value because she's going to see that you are a man of values. Now, her social and sexual life. Who are her friends? You can judge a person by the people that they hang out with. What are the virtues of her friends? What does she say about her friends? What do you hear about her friends? How does she speak about them? Who are they? You can judge her by that. Who has she dated? Who are her ex-boyfriends? How does she talk about them? Yes, there's bad relationships and people can date the wrong person, of course. But how does she speak about them? Does she speak about them with insults? Is she toxic? Is she hateful? Is she spiteful? A truly virtuous person, even if things didn't work out, they're not going to hold a grudge and they're not going to be hateful and spiteful. But also, you need to judge the men that she dated. Did she date high value men? Did she date men of principle, men of virtue, and men of worth? There might be one bad apple, but for the most part, was she dating men who were good, who had some value to them? And also, you should need to look at how she treats you. On the first date, is she kind? Is she compassionate? Is she honest? Is she sweet? Yeah, she's gonna have her personality. She's not gonna be some little teddy bear who's just, perfectly innocent and cute, right? She's gonna have her thorns and she's gonna have her edges, but you need to see what are her values being demonstrated through her behaviors. So you need to judge her by how she treats you. And if she is someone who is overly flaky, someone who is bitchy, someone who is disrespectful of you, someone who is catty and full of drama, you're gonna see these behaviors through the way that she talks to you and about the stories she tells while you're on the date with her. Look at how she treats the waiter. Look at how she treats the people around her. Does she gossip? Does she talk well of people? Or does she just avoid them as she's very focused on herself? These questions and these answers will show you who she is. Lastly, kindness and compassion and empathy. When you are with a woman who is truly good and truly virtuous, and she is kind to those around them, and she is caring of those around her, she's not giving $100 to every homeless person she sees. I get it. She's not, asking every single person, oh my God, hi, how are you? Right? There's people who can put on that act of kindness who are actually not kind. It is their way it's their camouflage in society. But do you see the way she looks at people? And do you see the way that she treats them? Is it kind and is it compassionate? When you see a woman who has this nature, this light, she's going to glow in a way. She is going to sparkle. It's also going to be a product of her lifestyle because she's not drinking all the time and doing drugs and smoking a lot, because you know what that does to the body. It changes the way you look. It changes your skin. It makes you look very unhealthy. You don't sleep a lot. You're not focused. Your lifestyle is going to affect you physically. How you treat others. Nasty people, they may put on the makeup, they may be sexy, they may go to the gym, but you're gonna see beneath that and you're gonna see their true beauty. Pay attention to people very, very specifically. Look at every detail of them, analyze them. That's what a high value man does. He screens those who are coming into his life and makes sure that they are up to snuff. So look for that light that radiates from people. You've seen it on YouTube videos or in movies or in photographs. You've seen how a truly spiritual person looks, how they just radiate with some sort of light. And you also see the people who pretend to be good, but they have some weird vibe behind them. They failed the vibe check. Be looking for these things. Be on the outlook for these things. Make it a center point of how you judge and evaluate women. Looks, personality, these things have to mesh. If they're just a good person, okay, they may be nice to be around, but you're not gonna be your partner, they're not gonna be your wife, you're not gonna wanna fuck them. So all three need to be in place. But if you do not hold virtue as your ultimate test of whether or not I'm gonna let her in my life or not, you are gonna be losing out on a lot of happiness, and you're going to be missing out on some of the best women, because in my experience, truly virtuous women are the most beautiful women. If you find a woman who is beautiful and sexy, but also cool and funny and charming, and she's virtuous and a good person, I wish I could just, they're very rare. I will tell you that, okay? They're very rare, but they are amazing to be around. They are the women who, just like when women say, like where have all the good men went, good people are not very common. They're very, very uncommon. Grateful people who are truly good, very uncommon. But when you do find them, those are the unicorns. They're not perfect, okay? It's not like they're never gonna make a mistake. They don't have to be some saint. Okay, if they were a saint, they'd probably be celibate and they wouldn't be an option. All right, she's off living in the woods as a monk. Okay, she's not interested. But despite her flaws, you are going to be in the presence of someone who shines like a diamond in the light. It's truly beautiful to be around them. Now, these women, who do you have to become to get them? You need to become high value, you need to become sexy, and you should be a good person too. But in my experience, these beautiful, virtuous women, they tend to like guys with a little bit of edge, okay? Because they want some balance, right? So I suggest you keep a little bit of your devilish nature. Most of it's just gonna be in bed. When girls say they like bad boys, most of the time it's just kind of an attitude thing and a sexual thing. If you have some attitude and you're not afraid to stand up for yourself, and you got some little bit of rebellious in you, a little bit of fire, right? But you're also very sexual. That's what makes you a bad boy. But these women, these super good women, they want a bad boy. And I've heard from one of the most virtuous, beautiful women I've ever met in my life. She told me, I want a man to be a bad boy for the first 6 months. Then I want to see the good boy. I want to see the good man. So you need to make yourself into a high value man, and you need to make yourself into a virtuous man, because she won't be around for long, because she has standards and she's going to want you to live up to her standards. But these angels want a little bit of the devil. So I suggest that you keep a little bit of the sexual, fun-loving devil inside of you. But for the most part, you are as virtuous and good as her, and you two are going to attract each other. And you're going to have a very healthy, honest, caring, compassionate, empathetic relationship. And you're going to avoid most of the bullshit that most guys in this world right now are going through, because they simply chose someone who is not virtuous. Virtue is beauty. And so if you are in search of beauty, it's not just a nice ass or a pretty face or a funny personality. It's a good heart. So find a good heart. Hector Castillo, Poppy from girlschase.com. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, ring the bell, follow me on Instagram. See you soon. Ciao.